Hello everyone, I am Matiana and I am back with another hair transplant video. It's almost 2 years since my hair transplant, so at the end of August will be 2 years since my hair transplant, and I have been sharing my journey on YouTube. I'll leave a playlist. You can feel free to check it out. You can check the description box below, or you can simply search my channel. And I try to talk about a lot of the things concerning hair transplant, simply because when I was getting ready to do my hair transplant, I didn't have a lot of I didn't see a lot of black women sharing their experience, so which caused my research to be long and sometimes with no answers. So now I'm sharing my experience. So in today's video, I'm coming back to talk about one thing that no one talks about, which is a failed hair transplant. This is something that I knew before going to get my hair transplant done. I knew that it's a procedure that's going to cause me a very pretty penny, and I also knew that because it caused me a pretty penny doesn't mean it's going to be successful. I remember early on one of my videos that I was announcing, one woman commented. She's a black woman. She commented and said to me that I might need a second or a third hair transplant after my first hair transplant that I didn't even get at that time. And I was so disappointed. Now that I think back of how disappointed I was to read her comment, now I'm thinking, why would a doctor tell a patient that they might need a second or a third hair transplant? Of course they're not going to tell you. She wasn't a doctor and she left that comment, and I was so disappointed. Imagine a doctor telling you that you might need a second or third hair transplant. So she herself is, like, I believe on her third hair transplant. She mostly does her update on Instagram, and I can leave her information down below if you want to check her out. She's on her third hair transplant and her hairline is still not full. So there's her, and then there's Demi Odell that also had a hair transplant done. She went to, I believe, Turkey and got a hair transplant done, and she shared her heartbreaking story, and I've talked about her in some past of my videos. And then the last one that I saw recently was Roxanne. She had her hair transplant done actually at the same clinic where I went to, and I was watching her videos when she was doing her updates. I was so inspired, I was encouraged, and I had hope. But she did make a video maybe a month ago, and she shared that she hated her hair transplant, that it wasn't successful. I have to say, because hair transplant, it's now becoming common knowledge. It's now becoming a very common thing among black women. Now we can find doctors that can do hair transplant, but people have not been doing curly and kinky hair transplant longer than straight hair. People have been doing straight hair longer than all type of hair. So there's more. So most likely there will be greater success in straighter hair than in curly hair. But we're always thankful every time we can find a doctor that can do our hair. I knew that a hair transplant could fail because when I was doing my researches, I didn't find a lot of black women that talked about it. So I was watching a lot of men. That's who I was watching, and I was taking some of the information and applying it to myself. Although their problem is completely different from my traction alopecia, there is some basic information that could apply to all of us. And one of the video that I was watching, I didn't think I was ever going to make this video, but I completely forgot the name of the channel or the YouTuber. I'm not sure if it's Hairlicious or Matt Dominus or someone else. I'm not sure, but if I can remember, I'll put their video down below. But I don't know if I can find the information. They said to me, when you go to get a hair transplant consultation, because a lot of the hair transplant clinic, your consultation is not with a doctor, it's sometimes with a sales representative. He said when your sales representative tell you that they had a hair transplant, to show you, to try to sell you that theirs look good, so yours is gonna look good. One of the first questions you should ask is, how many hair transplant did you get? Because that person was saying that when he asked that question, the person ended up telling him that that was his third hair transplant. So it took up to 3 hair transplants to have a successful result. And then the more I was watching men, I realized that you could have success with 1 hair transplant, but some people need more than 1 hair transplant to have success. And I know I went to natural hair transplant in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I know that clinic, they have the Hue, which I have done, and they have the Hue Plus. And the Hue Plus is something that removes even more hair, but I didn't get that. I just got the regular Hue. And then they try to go really, really far to get as much hair as possible. And the thing is, once the hair is extracted, once the follicle are extracted out of their like normal environment, some of them die. By the time it get transplanted, some of them will die, and then the experience with afro kinky hair, all of that. So this is information that I knew. It's not too far-fetched to have a failure hair transplant, but if you do have a failure hair transplant, you can go and get a second or a third one, hopefully just a second one. But whoever you go to, ask the right questions. To me, I already knew that. So when I was having consultation with my doctor, and then when I actually showed up at the day I was having conversation with the doctor, and I did ask him some question, and I said to him, what if it doesn't work, or what if something happened to my hairline where it doesn't go? He just said you can wait 1 year and get a second hair transplant. So I had my answer. The doctor never said, oh no, it always works. We always get positive answer. Because sometimes you got to know how to ask the right question. I don't know if it's because I am a nurse that I was able to kind of read in between the line and sneak that question in there to get the answer I'm wanting. Because I knew that if I go straight forward and said, am I going to need a second hair transplant? They probably will say no, 1 will be good. But the fact that I said that, what if something happened to my hair transplant and it's not successful? And the answer was, you just wait a year and then you get a second hair transplant. So I had the answer that I wanted. I just wanted to put this out there that it's a lot of money. You have to take time away from work. You have to travel away from family. Doesn't mean that it's going to be successful. And before my hair transplant, I used to also watch the TV show Botched. And anything can fail. Any plastic surgery, any surgery, medical surgery, anything can fail. And if you go to those places, they make you sign a consent, and if you read the fine lines, you will know that there's a chance of not having success. I was fortunate that mine was successful. I'm more than happy with my results. I can finally wear my hair in ways that I could have never worn my hair. But in all of this, the one thing that I'm learning, even if your recipient area is not successful, if the doctor was able to preserve your donor area, that's what matters, because your donor area is what you're going to need to be able to go on and have that second or third hair transplant. So when looking for a doctor, don't just look for the result in the front. Also look on how the doctor is preserving the donor area. Not because you're hoping for a second transplant, but just in case. Just in case. We never know what can happen. Just in case, if your donor area is preserved, it wasn't butchered, you can still go back and get that hair transplant. So when saving up for a hair transplant, know that it might work, and there's a possibility that whether it's in the US, because I've seen failed hair transplants in the US, failed hair transplants in Kenya, in Turkey, in Europe. I sit down and I Google, people email me and stuff like that. So no matter where you go in the world, even some of the best doctors can still give you a failed hair transplant. So that's one secret that nobody ever tells you, but guess what? I'm telling you now. So take that information and run with it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Leave all comments and questions down below, and I'll see you in the next video.